Hi Year 7, this is a short learning video all about the things that you are going to learn in the next unit of work, which is Matthew Bourne. Now within this unit of work, we are going to be concentrating and focusing on characterization in dance and exploring a narrative through dance. We've previously looked at court dancing and ballet grounding through the work of Christopher Bruce, and we're going to be building on that knowledge and using that knowledge as we move further into looking at this next practitioner, Matthew Bourne. This is going to be deepening your learning because we're going to show a character and narrative will add depth and quality to a performance. Matthew Bourne is a choreographer who has revolutionized storytelling in dance, and we will go on to study him and his significance at A-level dance if you choose that route. This will broaden your learning because you've now considered aspects of typical dance common in medieval Britain. Under Henry VIII's reign, at which point religious change was underway, a significant individual in the world of storytelling was born and raised in the town of Stratford-upon-Avon. I wonder if while you're sitting there you can consider who that significant individual might be. You may have guessed it, but it was in fact William Shakespeare. So there's key links here to English literature. We're going to be exploring literature's use as dance subject matter and theme, enhancing your knowledge of how English heavily influences the dramatic arts. So I wonder if you can consider this question: what exists in a dance to tell a story? On the next slide, I'm going to go through the 5 different components, but perhaps while you're sitting there now, you can consider what these might be. So going through the answers to that now, our different components within what exists in a dance to tell a story are actions, space, relationships, structure, and the physical and the oral settings. So just take a moment now to become familiar with what those different things are. So who was Matthew Bourne and what is New Adventures? And how do those ideas of the components of storytelling fit in to what Matthew Bourne does as a choreographer? Well, Matthew Bourne began his dance training at the comparatively late age of 22. He studied dance theatre and choreography at the Laban Centre, which is now Trinity Laban in London. He graduated in 1985 and continued to dance for a year with Laban's performance company Transitions. He continued to dance professionally for 14 years, alongside the creation of his own dance company. Bourne started his own company, Adventures in Motion Pictures, in 1987. In 2002, Bourne and his co-director, Robert Noble, relaunched the company as New Adventures. Bourne also choreographed for classic musicals, including Oliver, My Fair Lady, South Pacific, and Mary Poppins. So New Adventures is now the most successful and busiest dance company in the UK and a major exporter of British dance across the world. Take a moment to look at the images in front of you and familiarise yourself with some of the works that New Adventures has platformed. Many of these works you will go on to look at within this unit. So Bourne combines dance styles. Although at the heart of his work it's contemporary dance, he draws on classical ballet, particularly in using classically trained dancers in many of his works. There are elements of jazz or theatrical dance, making references to his interest in musical theatre, as well as a variety of social dance forms. What other choreographer that you have studied previously fuses different dance styles together with ballet as a trained technique? Hopefully you were able to get that answer right. We were looking for the answer, Christopher Bruce. So a little bit more about Matthew Bourne's choreographic features and how he deals with subject matter, the themes behind the dance. Bourne uses a narrative to structure the performance into episodes. He uses and develops a story that already exists. His movement content is developed out of the characters and how they connect to the story. Bourne wants to make old stories relevant to a new audience. He combines humour with dramatic content, which creates contrast, varying the mood for the audience. One of the works which you will go on to look at towards the end of this unit is called the Carman. The Carman is a story that is redeveloped. It is based on the original opera Carman. Bourne has not only changed the style of dance, but the entire art form and presentation of this piece of theatre. He has kept the original sound score, as he did in other works such as Sleeping Beauty and Romeo and Juliet. Bourne uses a physical setting, including props and costume, to communicate the characters and tell the story. We're going to watch the following clip, and I'd like you to answer the following questions. Feel free to pause the video if you need to write these down. The questions are: what actions can you see that involve the use of props, for example tyres? What can you interpret about these characters from the opening scene? And what examples can you find that create a dramatic narrative? So hopefully with that example, that video example, you were able to answer some of those questions and see exactly how Matthew Bourne conveys that newly invented story onto the stage. Within this unit, you will be asked and taught how to take Matthew Bourne's style and to put it on your own technique, your own performance skills. So I want us to consider now how we could convey Bourne's choreographic style through our own performance. Two aspects could be the technique and the musicality. So through the technique, we want to showcase contemporary and ballet technique through the core phrase. Through the musicality, we want to emphasize accents in the music using dynamics and physicality. We're going to watch an example now of an A-level solo of a piece created in the style of Matthew Bourne's The Carman. Even though this is an A-level piece of work, it is providing depth in your understanding of how the technique and the performance skills you are gaining now could be used in the future. So now I'd like you to consider how all of this learning about Matthew Bourne might allow you to be creative with your ideas. In preparation for the end of this unit, I would like you to start to consider a story that currently exists that you could reinvent. The story can exist in any of the following formats: a fictional and non-fictional book, a piece of drama or theatre, an opera, a ballet, a film, or a fairy tale. Some examples of Matthew Bourne's recreations can be seen on the opposite side of the slide. Try not to choose a story that's already been adapted by Bourne, but be creative with your own ideas. Towards the end of this unit, you will be asked to come in with those ideas to help form your own choreography in the style of Matthew Bourne. Please look over your notes, go back and watch any part of this video again if you need to. And we hope that this learning video has given you a well-rounded understanding of who Matthew Bourne is, what New Adventures is, and how you can bring that learning into the studio with you to enhance your knowledge within this unit.